Well, we're gonna make this a relatively quick video today. I've got stuff filmed for the other stuff. It's a slow process getting everything together. So I figured I'd give y'all an update on what I've been up to in the process. And well, this is an easy update. That is an irrigation engine. Well, to be more specific, that is a generator engine. We have one farm left that runs natural gas powered irrigation engines, and it runs a generator on the backside instead of actually running a gearhead. And the generator is what's broke. It is a Don Hardy fuel efficient irrigation engine out of Florida, Texas. They're good folks. The engine's fine. I've actually had to do a little bit of work to it a few years back, but the engine's probably around 15, 16 years old. It's been running just fine, other than the heads that I had to replace 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 seasons ago. It's running great. But the generator decided to give up on us. Now, it has given up on us in the past. We had to, about 2 years after we got this motor set up on this farm, we had to get the generator repaired once before. So it's lasted us 13-ish years so far. So yeah, it's not outputting 480 volts. So we've got to get it over to Lubbock Electric and hope that it can be fixed and back out here and running by at least June 1st. I know that's a little bit of a stretch, but we drug our heels hoping that something would happen, and it didn't. And I'll go into that in a minute. But yeah, let's go into this. This is a Don Hardy engine setup. It's a little generator engine. It's a V6 Chevrolet engine. And the way this thing works is that panel there, there's a little rudimentary computer or a circuit box in that panel there that essentially tells the motor what RPM it needs to run at. There's the actual throttle control itself over there. The way this thing works, you flip one of those switches up, you press your Murphy switch, and then hold it down, and then press your starter button right there at the same time. Start the engine. Once it's warmed up a minute or two, you flip the other switch, and it brings the engine up to high idle. Once the engine's at high idle, you flip on your panel box to your well, push start for the well, and the engine comes up to idling speed, or whatever speed it needs to, not to overspeed the generator, but to produce 480 volts. It's a really smart setup. This thing's, Don Hardy's dialed it in, and they've got it right. They've been selling these setups for a lot of years, and they work. This thing has worked for us for a long time. It's the engine itself is about 15 years old, and aside from new heads, I haven't had to do anything to it other than just add oil about every other day. The generator is about 13 years old. It did fail on us once before, but hey, 13 years out of a generator when it's running 24/7 for 3 months, I can't complain about that. Now, loading it on the trailer, that was a little bit of fun. It was a little sketchy, but a little fun. I didn't want to film it in case something happened. Plus, my dad's kind of camera shy, and he was the one out here helping me. But essentially, we used our equipment hauler trailer to back over the motor and lift it up. And yes, we did have a casualty. We lost a tire. I kind of expected it. That back tire and that back tire, not the greatest in the world, but we moved the sliding post back here and hooked a chain hoist to it and just raised the thing up. And for those that have never seen one of these, this is an old school equipment hauler. You've got hookup points in the front, in the middle, and the very back. You can run a chain hoist, suck that thing up, then use chains to actually catch it in place, and do the same thing on the other end and suck it up and chain it in place. And then you can chain it down to the front, chain it to the middle, and of course you get your safety chain here in the back. And you can suspend a 3-point mounted plow, almost any variety. Take your pick here. Well, not that thing, but the smaller ones, yes. They are roughly 30 foot long. They'll fit on this trailer. I use this predominantly as an overhead hoist out here on the farm because we don't have a barn. Everything lives outside. That's the only form of overhead hoist that I've got out here, and it comes in very handy out here. So I will be replacing that tire that blew out, because I do use this quite a bit out here for raising up a plow to work on it if I don't have it on a tractor, or just, moving well motors. There's a lot of random things I use this thing for. Once we got this thing suspended in the air and somewhat on the trailer, I ran out of room with the overhead hoist. So it was, yet again, it was sketchy. But I got the front half of the motor on the trailer. I used the come along, the manual winch, and I sucked it up on the trailer itself, and then just used chains and a ratchet boomer to secure the back end. And it's not going anywhere. So now I've just got to carry that thing to Lubbock Electric tomorrow and drop it off. And like I said, hopefully they will get it done before June 1st. That or XL Energy, which is our local power company that deals with the power out here where we're at, could finally hang our pots for us. I noticed the other day they hung some for one of my neighbors, and they've got electricity to their well. We've had a request in with them for a few months, actually about 6 months now, I believe, but I kept thinking all winter I was going to get a phone call, hey, your transformer's up, we hung the pots for you, and then I could come out here with a ditcher and trench in my wire. But no luck. So I get the feeling with my luck, they're probably going to hang the transformers about midway through the crop season. So yeah, I'm not ditching up crop and tearing up cotton to put electric line in. I'll just use this thing and irrigate with it, and then over the next winter, then I'll ditch in my electric line. But yeah, this thing came in really handy for us over the years. The reason we went with a natural gas powered engine is there was a natural gas meter right next to the well pad itself, which is way up that turn row up there. Yeah, that's a long ways to the field. There's my actual drip irrigation pad. Still need to get a carport built over that, but yeah, it's a long ways up there to that irrigation well. Now, this little motor has come in very handy for us over the years, and the whole reason we went with natural gas engine over ditching in electric at the time we bought this thing was right behind me there's a FM road behind me. There's a set of power lines that goes down it, and to get up to that well site was between 1/2 and 3/4 of a mile. And if you've ever ditched an electric line, you know that's very, very expensive. I think it was about $1,500 to $2,000 more expensive than buying this engine right here. And there was already a natural gas line and a meter sitting right next to the well. So we've already got the fuel sitting there. The engine and generator is cheaper. We went with the engine and generator, and it has paid for itself time and time again. So I'm not complaining in the least about that. Prior to this little motor sitting there, we actually had a big Caterpillar diesel generator. We bought it at some oil field auction down in the Permian years and years and years and years ago. And it was extreme overkill for that one well, but it was cheap enough and it worked. We just had to continually haul diesel to it. Whereas with this, we hook up one pipe into the natural gas meter from the motor, and it just runs. But last year, they came in with a set of power lines on the back side of the farm. So now to come off of those lines and go to that well site is only about 300 yards. So it's a lot easier to run an irrigation engine off of power lines, off of grid power versus relying on something else, because you never know what's going to go wrong with an engine. I've seen it all over the years. We've had a lot of these engines over the years, not specifically the V6s, but a lot of irrigation engines. And it is going to kind of be sad to see the last of our engines go away, because this is the last natural gas powered irrigation engine we have. I've had a handful of 350 Chevrolets and, well, actually I've had a whole bunch of 350 Chevrolets and a handful of 454s powering wells over the years. And it's going to kind of be sad not to hear one of those old Chevrolets just barking at high idle or on, screaming at open headers on the turn row. I'm going to kind of miss that. But in the same breath, it's a whole lot easier to walk out there and flip one lever and push a button, and you don't have to worry about an engine at all. You don't have to worry about maintenance and oil and everything else that goes along with it. The starting system, the charging system, the radiator, everything that goes wrong on an engine sitting on a turn row in the middle of a cotton field. Now, this engine's put in a lot of work. I mean, like I said, we usually irrigate about 3 months of the year, and when we're running irrigation, unless it rains, it's 24/7. So these engines put in a lot of work, and this one specifically, I don't even want to calculate the number of hours this thing's ran. But put in a lot of work, and we're not going to get rid of it. I mean, they still bring money. They still hold their value, but we're not going to get rid of it. We're going to put it in the barn and save it in case we ever have anything happen in the future. We have, or if we ever do drill another water well, we have a motor we can put out there, provided we have natural gas close by, and we can at least power the well with this until we can get electricity run to it. So we're not going to get rid of it. But in the same breath, I'm not going to hear it every day when I'm out checking wells. It's going to kind of be sad. But we are at the mercy of XL Energy when it comes to hanging the transformers. They've already hung a set for my neighbor. I'm kind of waiting on them to hang my set, and it's probably going to be my luck. They'll do it in the middle of the growing season, and I'm not going to shut down and ditch across cotton to put the wire in. I'll wait until after the crop is out and do it over the winter. So this thing's going to at least get one more season of use out of it, unless they put the pots up before it gets fixed. So, but yeah, figured I'd give y'all a little bit of an update. That's kind of what we're up to here on the farm. I've been doing a few things behind the scenes. Y'all will see that in a later video. Been working on getting everything ready for planting season. Rod weeder has new busters on the back and a few new sweeps, and I'm working on putting the cages on it today. That's what I'm doing aside from this. So I gotta get that, and then I gotta hook onto that planter and go through it and rebuild all the metering units in the planter. And of course, I've also got to go through my spray rigs as well. I've got one of them. I've gone through it as best I can. I've got to replace the pump on it, which I got to go get the new pump. We've got a replacement pump for it. I just got to go pick it up, and I've got to go through the other spray rig. That won't be too bad though. The other one was winterized years ago. It should be just fine. I just got to, well, I may have to replace a tire. I don't know. We'll see. Cross that bridge when I get there. But y'all will see that on a later video. That's kind of upcoming. I've been filming a lot with the other stuff, so y'all see that on another video. Until then, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see y'all on the next one.